So, what if everything about sister wives was super controlled? What if the crying, fights, and silence were on purpose? Turns out, the truth is out, and it's way worse than anyone thought. Season 18 didn't just break up families, it showed that the whole thing was fake. For years, fans thought what they were seeing was real, right? But now, Kody and Robyn Brown are saying the story wasn't totally honest. It started subtly. A comment here. A pause there. Kody hesitating to answer a question. Then it fell apart. During a chat about the family's issues, Kody said that by the time they filmed season 18, the family was too far gone. But instead of showing that, they showed a softer version. And Robyn? She didn't say no. She looked sad and said some talks were handled carefully to avoid drama. Not to help the family, but to save certain relationships. That changed everything. Suddenly, fans started getting it. Why did some fights feel unfinished? Why did some wives look lost, like they were reacting to stuff that happened off-screen? Why did Robyn always seem ready, while Janelle and Meri looked shocked? The answer? They weren't told the same story. The truth is, season 18 wasn't about fixing things. It was about keeping the story straight. Kody said they told producers to film safe stuff. Easy talks, scenes where they knew how it would end. Real fights were put off or not filmed at all. And if they were filmed, they didn't always air. Robyn said they talked a lot about how scenes would look to the audience. She worried about who would be blamed for the family falling apart. That's when fans realized, season 18 wasn't the real deal. It was all managed. While viewers watched drama, the real stuff happened in private. Janelle didn't just up and leave. Meri didn't suddenly bail. Those choices took years, quietly and off camera. But the show said otherwise. It made Janelle look stubborn, Meri look confused, and Robyn look like the peacemaker stuck in the middle. That wasn't by accident. Kody said that by season 18, he wasn't trying with the other wives. He said he was tired of it all, but he only tried with one house, Robyn. And while Robyn says she didn't want to be the favorite, she knew the other marriages weren't doing great before filming. She knew, and didn't say anything. Instead, they filmed confusing scenes that were not what they seemed. Here's where it gets ugly. Robyn and Kody knew what was up, but Janelle and Meri were reacting to stuff as it happened, on camera, to choices made without them. That wasn't just emotions. It was on purpose. Season 18 showed Janelle choosing herself over family, but she was already out of the loop with money and decisions. She wasn't rebelling. She was left out. Meri was shown as holding on to hope. But viewers didn't see the talks where they said that fixing things wasn't going to happen, while the cameras rolled as if it still could. Why? Drama is good TV. Kody said ending things off camera would have changed the whole season, and Robyn said she was scared of what would happen if certain things came out too soon. So, instead of the truth, viewers got blah. Instead of clear info, confusion. And instead of blame, silence. It was about power. Whoever tells the story wins. Whoever wins controls what people think. And for years, people liked Robyn and Kody the best. Not anymore. The truth is slipping out. Kody says he wasn't playing favorites. He just says it differently. Robyn says she knew stuff, and has her reasons. And fans? They're not buying it. But really, it's the season where the truth came out by accident. A long sigh. A sentence that went too far. A slip-up they couldn't cut. And once that was out, they couldn't hide it. Now when viewers rewatch season 18, they see something different. Reactions that don't fit. Feelings that seem late. Women realizing on camera that they were already gone. This family wasn't falling apart together. It was being broken apart unfairly. And the worst part? Janelle and Meri were supposed to be okay with it. They had to be quiet. They had to agree to keep up a story that wasn't for them. But the silence is done. Kody and Robyn never thought. Okay, here's a rewritten take on the text you provided, aiming for a more human and less AI-sounding voice. Kody Brown tried to downplay the truth, but he couldn't hide everything. In a moment that really shocked fans, Kody admitted that the big decisions about the family's future were made before they started filming. All those talks we thought were happening live, Nope. They were mostly just the aftermath of stuff that already went down. That changes everything, right? If the ending was already written, what were we even watching? Kody said season 18 was supposed to be about change, but really, it was about damage control. His relationships with Janelle and Meri were already dead, but the show acted like things were up in the air and maybe they could fix it. Why though? Because drama keeps people watching. Kody admitted that if they showed the truth, that he was only into Robyn, the show would have fallen apart too quickly. And Robyn knew it. Robyn admitted she knew the other marriages were failing way before the cameras caught on. She knew things weren't just temporarily bad. She knew it was over. But she didn't say anything. But everyone's asking, which family? While Robyn and Kody were protecting their own house, Janelle and Meri were left in the dark, having to act surprised on camera about decisions that were already made. That wasn't just a misunderstanding. That was hiding the truth. Season 18 feels less like real life and more like a carefully staged show. Kody said the producers would ask him to go back over conversations that already happened when the cameras weren't rolling, but those weren't just neutral replays. They changed things, made it sound nicer, shifted the blame around. Kody called big problems misunderstandings even when they were final. Robyn acted confused, even though she knew what was going to happen. And here's the real bomb. They didn't show some fights at all. Kody said some arguments with Janelle were so bad, they asked the producers not to show them. These weren't small fights. They were about money, respect, and their future. Talks where Janelle wanted answers. Times when Kody admitted he played favorites. Scenes where Robyn got called out. Gone, cut out, deleted. Instead, we got watered-down versions that made Janelle seem difficult and Kody seem annoyed, not controlling. Robyn said there were talks with Meri that would have changed everything if they aired. Talks where Meri was told, clearly, that they weren't getting back together. But on TV?
They still acted like there was hope.
That wasn't nice. That was messing with people. Because letting Meri think she had a chance kept her in line, showing up, working with them, staying quiet. And staying quiet was key. Robyn said she worried that if Meri or Janelle spoke up, people would misunderstand things. But now it's clear. The silence caused the misunderstanding. Season 18 also hit a big power shift. More and more, Robyn and Kody were making the money decisions by themselves. Janelle, who used to be in charge of the family's money, was slowly left out of the loop. Her boundaries were called disloyal. Kody said he felt disrespected when Janelle questioned his decisions, but he didn't say that he was making choices without her input. Robyn played the emotional support person, the peacemaker, the one stuck in the middle. But she knew exactly where Kody stood, and that's why fans feel betrayed. Because season 18 wasn't just hiding the truth, it was blaming the wrong people. Janelle was shown as choosing freedom over family. Meri was shown as holding on to a dream. Robyn was shown as innocent and overwhelmed. But when the truth came out, it flipped. Janelle wasn't distant, she was pushed out. Meri wasn't confused, she was lied to. Robyn wasn't clueless, she knew what was happening. And Kody? He was running the show. He said that keeping up a certain image was important. That keeping control, both at home and on TV, shaped what he showed and what he didn't. Season 18, he said, was hard to watch. Not because it showed too much, but because it showed just enough. Enough to keep people guessing. Enough to avoid blame. Enough to protect the story. But not enough to tell the truth. Now looking back, fans are watching season 18 differently. They see Robyn reacting too fast because she already knew what was coming. They see Kody looking defensive because the truth is coming out. They see Janelle and Meri looking shocked because they're finding out things on camera that were decided in secret. That's not real. That's setting people up. And it didn't end when the cameras stopped. They broke trust for good. Janelle said the season made her realize she wasn't part of their story anymore. Meri realized she was being kept around to make them look good. And Robyn? She's learning that staying quiet can be as bad as lying. They wanted season 18 to be controlled, but secrets always come out, and once the truth was out, they couldn't hide it anymore. Because the real shock of season 18 isn't what we saw. It's what they didn't want us to see. For ages, Janelle Brown seemed like the rock, always calm. She was the wife who kept it together on TV, didn't ask for attention, and didn't freak out when stuff went wrong. But season 18 wasn't just a test of patience, it showed how long she'd been doing everything herself. When Janelle finally spoke up, she didn't sound mad. Fans say that made it hit even harder. No yelling, no attacks, just the truth, and it was brutal. Janelle said that by the time they started filming season 18, she already felt like a visitor in her own family. Big choices were made without her. Plans were done before she even knew about them, and if she asked questions, she was called difficult. But Janelle wasn't being difficult. She was being erased. Janelle said that behind the scenes she went from being an equal to just someone who helped out when it was convenient. For years, she had supported the family with money, feelings, and getting things done. She was the planner, the provider, the one who kept things steady. But when it was time for big decisions, especially about property, money, and what's going to happen in the future, she was suddenly left out. She talked about finding out about big decisions after they were already happening. Conversations that should have included her never did. And when the cameras were rolling, she was supposed to act like everything was fine. It wasn't. Janelle said that season 18 made her face something she'd been avoiding for years. Loyalty in the Brown family was a one-way street. She stayed because she believed in the idea of family. She stayed because she didn't want to be seen as a quitter. And she stayed because she thought things would eventually be fair. But instead, being quiet was seen as good. When Janelle didn't make a big scene about her pain, it was ignored. When she set limits, they were called demands. And when she asked for fairness, she was accused of messing things up. One of the saddest things she said was, "I knew I was helping for a future that I wasn't part of." That one sentence really got to fans, because it proved what many thought. Janelle wasn't trying to be distant. She was reacting to being left out. Season 18 tried to make her independence look like she was rebelling. But Janelle told the truth. She became independent because she had no other choice. With money, she felt unsure. With feelings, she felt invisible. She talked about how hard it was to see resources going in one direction while she was told to wait. She talked about bringing up concerns that were ignored, or worse, seen as not being loyal. And the more she asked, the colder people got. Janelle said that her relationship with Kody went from being partners to fighting for power. Not because she wanted to control things, but because she wanted respect. Kody, she said, started thinking that obeying him meant love, and Janelle wasn't going to play that game. She also talked about Robyn, carefully, but clearly. Janelle said that even though Robyn acted like she was neutral, she usually knew what was up. Robyn knew about decisions before Janelle did. Robyn knew what Kody was thinking. And Robyn benefited from choices that Janelle was cut out of. That hurt more than the choices themselves, because it made Janelle realize that keeping things from her wasn't an accident. It was happening on purpose. Season 18 showed Janelle as not caring, but viewers didn't see how much she was dealing with behind the scenes. She was trying to balance being angry with being responsible, being hurt with being respectable, and being heartbroken with staying calm. She didn't want to blow up on TV, not because she wasn't hurting, but because she didn't want anyone to think she was crazy. Instead, she stayed quiet, and people got the wrong idea. Producers thought she wasn't engaged. Kody thought she was rejecting him, and fans wondered why Janelle seemed so checked out. Now we know why. She was protecting herself. One of the most important parts of Janelle's story was when she talked about her breaking point. It wasn't one fight. It wasn't one decision. It was knowing that her voice didn't matter anymore. She said she finally realized that staying quiet wouldn't fix things. It would only make her disappear. Season 18 didn't make her leave. It showed her what was going on. She also talked to the audience, saying that her not showing emotions might have confused people. She said, "I deal with things differently. That doesn't mean I wasn't hurt." And in that moment, fans understood Janelle, not as someone distant, but as someone who was really in control. Her strength wasn't in fighting. It was in seeing things clearly. By the end of season 18, Janelle wasn't mad. She had made up her mind. She stopped waiting for things to be fair and started choosing to be at peace. And that scared Kody, because for the first time, Janelle wasn't trying to work things out. She wasn't explaining herself. She wasn't hoping things would get better. She was done. Her silence wasn't agreeing, it was separating. Fans now see season 18 as the season Janelle got herself back. Not with a lot of noise, not with drama, but for sure. And as her truth came out, it showed something uncomfortable. The Brown family didn't break up because Janelle left. It broke up because she finally stopped doing everything alone. Viewers saw her sitting around, nodding and talking carefully, like every word mattered. Lots of fans thought Meri stayed because she was lost or just couldn't walk away. But season 18 showed what was really up. Meri knew what was going on. She felt trapped. When she finally spoke her mind, she was serious, and you could tell she was hurting. She said things had been over with Kody for a long time, even before the cameras caught on. What people saw as hope was just fake, and that wasn't by mistake. Meri said that people told her off camera that getting back together wasn't going to happen. But when they filmed, things changed. They talked about things like they weren't settled. They edited stuff to make it look like there was still a chance. Why? Because what Meri thought didn't fit the show they wanted to make. She said they pushed her to stay quiet, agree with everything, and be available. Not to get better, but to look a certain way. Her being there kept the idea of plural marriage alive. Her being quiet kept things calm. And her feelings? They got in the way. Meri said she felt like an object in her own life. She was supposed to show up, join in, and support choices she had no say in, while knowing her marriage was dead. She said something really sad. I was being loyal to people who had already left me. She didn't get there overnight. It took years of mixed signals, not being close, and talks that went nowhere. Meri said Kody would talk in circles, never being clear, but never saying it was totally over. That kept her waiting. Waiting for honesty. Waiting for things to end. Waiting to be able to move on. She said season 18 made her see something painful. Waiting was the point. As long as she waited, the family looked good. As long as she waited, no one had to be the bad guy. And as long as she waited, the stories stayed easy. Meri also talked about Robyn, carefully but firmly. She knew that Robyn was often the go-between, the translator, the reasonable one. But after a while, Meri saw that Robyn was changing the conversations before Meri even got there. They said decisions were together when they weren't. They spoke for her before she could speak for herself. And even if Robyn thought she was helping, it had the same result. Meri's voice went away. Meri said one of the worst things was seeing them fake hope on camera when it wasn't real. Scenes that hinted at getting back together. Chats that suggested things could happen. Checking in on her that looked like they were getting better. None of it kept going when the cameras were off. Meri said she felt like they were using her pain for the show, spreading it out over episodes, teasing it in clips, but never fixing it. And that changed her. She said staying wasn't because she was weak. It was because she wanted to believe in family, commitment, and that sticking it out mattered. But season 18 made her face the truth. Sticking it out without honesty is just being trapped. She changed her mind when she realized they were keeping the truth from her, not for her, but to make everyone else happy. They weren't saving her from pain, they were saving themselves from messing up the story. Meri also talked about what fans thought about her. She said it hurt to be seen as stuck or desperate, knowing how hard it was to keep showing up while feeling left out. She wasn't clinging, she was dealing with it. By the end of season 18, Meri said she felt empty, not because she didn't care, but because caring had hurt too much. She left quietly. She said it was over. She stopped asking to get clarity. She stopped waiting for the end. She stopped trying to fit into a place that wasn't for her anymore. And she said that was the hardest and bravest thing she's ever done. Because leaving meant knowing something painful. The family she was loyal to was already gone. Season 18 didn't break Meri. It showed her. It showed what happens when you're loyal but don't get it back. When you're quiet but not safe. And when you hope but there's no honesty. And when she finally told the truth, fans saw her differently. Not as someone who couldn't let go, but as someone who held on longer than she should have. Okay, here's a more human-sounding rewrite of that text. So, things ended with a jolt. For years, sister wives showed this family that felt like it was always struggling, but sticking together. Broken, but still hoping for the best. Every season, we were kind of pushed to believe that love, commitment, and faith could get you through anything. Then came season 18, and bam, that whole idea went out the window. Because what it really showed wasn't just marriages falling apart. It was this whole story they've been carefully selling us, just collapsing. Now, the big question isn't just who left the family. It's who was being real this whole time. With Janelle and Meri finally speaking their minds, the power in that family has totally changed. The story isn't just Kody's version or Robyn's feelings anymore. For the first time, you have all these different versions of the truth that just don't line up. That's a game changer. Kody keeps saying he didn't want to hurt anyone. He says he was just worn out, annoyed, and over the whole plural marriage thing. But now we can see a pattern. When things got tough, he just started trying to control everyone, instead of talking it out. If anyone doubted him, he pulled rank. And if being honest messed with his story, he wanted everyone to be quiet. Robyn, on the other hand, still says she's just overwhelmed and nobody gets her. She says she wanted everyone to be united and tried to keep the family together. But season 18 made it obvious that unity without treating everyone the same isn't really unity. It's a pecking order. And the pecking order was pretty clear. One house got all the attention, love, and protection. The others got left with being unsure, distant, and not getting the full story right away. Janelle and Meri's stories didn't just add details. They changed the whole story we thought we knew. Suddenly, things that didn't make sense before click into place. Why Janelle stopped trying so hard. Why Meri stopped hoping things would get better. Why the conversations felt staged. Why it felt like things were always going to turn out a certain way. Season 18 wasn't just filming the breakdown. It was showing us that the breakdown had been happening for a while. Now, Sister Wives is at a turning point. Can the show keep going now that the idea of everyone being one big, happy plural family is gone? Because the show was built on everyone being committed, making choices together, and respecting each other. And that's all gone now. Janelle and Meri didn't just leave their marriages. They left a system that didn't see their value anymore. And viewers noticed. Fans are reacting to season 18 in a way they never have before. They're asking tougher questions, and they really want the truth. Fans aren't just looking for drama anymore. They want to know what really happened. Which puts Kody and Robyn in a tight spot. For years, they got to control the story. But now, everyone's going back and watching old seasons again. Every scene is being replayed with a new point of view. Moments of silence now feel like they meant something. Moments that seemed confusing now feel like they were planned. Moments that felt emotional now feel fake. And that's not going to stop. The show's future depends on whether they start being honest instead of controlling everything, and whether they take responsibility instead of getting defensive. Because viewers aren't happy with half-truths anymore. They want the whole story. For Janelle, the future is about being independent, not to get back at anyone, but to protect herself. She's made it clear that her happiness doesn't depend on being included anymore. Her strength doesn't depend on getting anyone's approval. She's not waiting to be chosen. She's choosing herself. Meri's future might be quieter, but she's still strong. She's not trying to place blame anymore. She's trying to find closure, about getting her voice back after years of others speaking for her. She's not changing the past. She's finally letting it go. As for Robyn, season 18 has put her under a microscope. Whether she meant to or not, her part in the family's problems is now part of the conversation. And Kody, he's facing the biggest challenge of all. Because you can't have authority without trust. You can't lead without being fair. And you can't control everything without being honest, or you'll ruin everything. Season 18 wasn't just another season. It was a mirror. And some people didn't like what they saw. The show's future and the family's reputation now depends on one question. Will they finally let the truth come out without trying to control it? Because the audience has changed. They're not just watching. They're figuring things out, asking questions, and wanting people to be responsible for their actions. And once viewers see the truth, they can't forget it. Season 18 might be over, but its impact is still being felt. hidden for years, and showed what happens when you're silent, when loyalty isn't returned, and when love isn't balanced. This wasn't just the end of an era, it was the end of pretending. And whatever happens with Sister Wives next, it'll never be the same.